Why, hello there, everyone. Today, we finally got the official gameplay trailer for Genthru as he appears in Hunter Nen Impact. Finally, we got the trailer after seeing his gameplay for the first time in Justin Wong's footage back from, was it Evo Japan? Because he was told that by the time he would post that footage, the Genthru trailer would have already been revealed, but it wasn't revealed. Apparently, somebody eventually at least noticed that the trailer wasn't revealed. So somebody decided to make it public, today at least. And this is also the first time I am speaking on Hunter Nen Impact on YouTube, at least, since it had been announced that the game would be getting delayed for the sake of implementing rollback netcode. And this is also the first time me talking in a YouTube video about the game since they revealed that the game is now going to be an active tag game. So to address both of those things before I watch the Genthru gameplay, I know a lot of people are disappointed that it's going to be an active tag game, specifically people that were really wanting this to be the second coming of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, right? I can understand why people would be disappointed about that if they were super attached to the idea of having a Marvel vs. Capcom 3 style of game. Me personally, I don't necessarily have a strong preference for the MVC3 style of assists versus the active tag style assists. Me personally, I like both. Although I do think it's strange that they would make such a significant change to the gameplay this far into the game's development, right? Because if the game weren't getting delayed, let's say the game would still be coming out this year as originally planned, does that mean that they would have changed it to an active tag game even closer to its release date? Because that's a very significant gameplay change, right? And I would imagine that throughout the majority of this game's development, under the assumption that it was not going to be an active tag game, they were balancing it a certain way. They were balancing it to revolve around the assists behaving a certain way, right? Behaving similarly to how they behave in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So I'm a little concerned that by making such a big gameplay change this close to the release date, that it's going to result in some problems that they didn't account for, but that is alleviated somewhat because of the delay. As I said, this game is getting delayed because apparently, well, it's an assumption. I was going to say it's getting delayed apparently because they were not going to put rollback netcode in the game according to its original release date. But the reason why that's an assumption is because what they said is that they were delaying the game to give themselves time to implement rollback netcode. So that could mean that originally they were wanting to implement rollback netcode all along, and they just originally assumed that they would be able to finish it in time, but they didn't, and hence that's why they are doing the delay. Or alternatively, what would be even more funny is that they were never planning on implementing rollback netcode at all in the first place, but then over time, maybe they got cold feet. Maybe they started realizing that they just need rollback netcode, right? Maybe they were starting to actually listen to some feedback as we got closer to the release date. But regardless, even though I was definitely looking forward to playing this game this year, if getting the game next year is the only way we're going to get rollback netcode in the game, then it is definitely worth the wait, right? Because it's not negotiable. It's just a necessity that the game, at the very least, has to have rollback netcode. The more negotiable things that would be nice would be crossplay, right? Although I wouldn't be holding my breath for crossplay with this game if they had to make such a big deal about the rollback netcode. But that is technically the first confirmation that this game is getting rollback netcode. So overall, still a net positive on the announcements there. So now I can actually allow myself to look forward to the game knowing that it's going to have at least somewhat decent netcode. The bigger concern for me personally, I think I said it on a previous video, but especially since that exhibition tournament they had, the auto combos are looking as if they do way too much damage, right? So hopefully with this delay, not only is it going to give them more time to implement the rollback netcode, but hopefully it will also give them more time to just reevaluate things like that. It'll give them time to reevaluate how they want to balance the auto combos, for example, right? But anyway, with all that said, let me actually watch the Genthru gameplay now. This character is actually the character that I am most looking forward to in the game because, for one, I like maining grapplers, and of all the characters that are going to be playable in this game, if any of them are going to fall into the typical grappler archetype, it would be Genthru. And also, I'm really curious how inclined towards grappling he will be, considering that this game is going to lack motion inputs. And for anyone that doesn't know, traditionally speaking, command grabs are some of the strongest moves in any fighting game, right? And because command grabs are relatively such strong moves in any given fighting game, you balance the command grabs by having them be performed with a more elaborate or a more involved motion input, right? So the classic is Zangief's spinning pile driver. Spinning pile driver by itself is debatably, or maybe not so debatably, the strongest move in Street Fighter, right? But it's balanced by the fact that you need to input a 360 input in order to make it come out, right? So then it counterbalances how effective it is. It counterbalances how strong the move is with a mechanical input, but more importantly, the amount of time it would take to actually input the 360, right? So even though theoretically you could input a 360-degree input at any point in the match, given you're fast enough, realistically speaking, you are not going to be able to just whip out a 360 at any given point in a match. You see my point? I just wanted to make that clear for anybody watching this that may not be familiar with fighting games in general, because I know that there might be some people interested in this game that are only interested because of it being Hunter x Hunter, and maybe they're not super familiar with fighting games. But let's see. Immediately, I'm very happy that we see his two, I don't remember their names, but I'm very happy that we're seeing his two lackeys in the character intro here. I'm pretty sure in my moveset predictions video, I was speculating the possibility that maybe they could be involved in his moveset somewhat. So let's see if they actually are involved in his moveset in some way and not just relegated to the intro. Oh, also, I would have said this earlier. It was my immediate thought when I saw this for the first time, but I had been looking at this frame for a while as I was setting up my recording, right? We get a new map, a new stage, I should say. This is it called Macedora? The city from Greed Island. And I'm actually really happy to see this stage because before they revealed the other Greed Island stage in the game, I was speculating possible stages that could exist. I was actually thinking about making a video about speculative stages that could be in the game. I was thinking about making that after I posted my moveset predictions video. But my thought was, if they were going to make a stage to represent Greed Island, I was expecting it to be Macedora, because of all the places in Greed Island, having the Macedora city, the crazy, weird magic city as a backdrop would be much more visually interesting than anything else in Greed Island, unless you were to be inside of the dodgeball arena. That would be another good pick from Greed Island. But I still think Macedora would be the more interesting backdrop, because not only do you have the weird architecture and colors, but you also get to have NPCs in the background, right? So I'm happy with this stage pick. After I saw the other Greed Island stage that was revealed before this one, the one with the Kelpie in the background, I was a little disappointed that they picked something so basic to represent Greed Island. So I'm glad to see that both are in. Okay. Yeah, see, looking at the stage before I start scrutinizing Genthru's gameplay, you see, you have the interesting patternization with the black and white checkers here, crazy buildings and colors, and you actually get to have a lot of NPCs in the background. Have we seen any NPCs in any of the backgrounds of any of these stages yet, or is this a first? No, I think there was an NPC in the stage with the door to Killua's estate, right? The Zoldyck estate. I think we did have one. I think it was the, was it the guy that lets them in? I think there was one, but regardless, this is a lot of NPCs in the background compared to some of the other stages that we've seen. So anyway, I think this is a good stage. Now to look at this Gatling combo. So that was his wall bounce, that back kick. Oh no, is that a back kick or more of a side kick? I cannot tell the perspective of his foot here because it's making a weird shape, and looking at this in 2D, it's kind of hard to tell the perspective. But based on the keyframing, it kind of looks like a back kick. But my point is that this is his combo into a wall bounce, which does seem to be a common thing that every character has in their arsenal, having a way to combo into a wall bounce. Oh. Before I comment on seeing his lackeys run across the screen, I wanted to comment on this button right here. This looks like a really good air button. Oh, look at that. Dude, the hitbox becomes active. Look at that. The hitbox, presumably this is when it's hitting her. This hitbox becomes active before his leg is even visibly out. Look at that. That is a very good jump in, or at least it looks like it, right? And then he dashes. Okay, interesting. I didn't notice that the first time watching it at normal speed, but when he dashes forward here, his hands are glowing with aura. Almost as if it's some kind of dashing command grab. Because it looks as if he would be grabbing somebody here, and maybe it's just not working on Biscuit because she's airborne technically right now, right? Maybe against a grounded opponent who is blocking, you would be able to grab them with this, and maybe in the context of this combo, he's only using it as a mobility tool to get closer to her. That would be interesting. But, is that the same motion he just did? I was going to say, it almost looked as if this were a stance, and he pressed something out of that stance to call in his lackey. But he does a second move that looks very similar. So maybe that's the whiff animation. And then this is the move calling in his teammate. It's kind of hard to tell with how similar these two animations are, that and that. But he runs in, and okay, so in my moveset prediction video, not only was I saying that his teammates, the other two members of the Bomber team, could be part of his moveset, but I think I specifically mentioned the possibility of it being similar to the putties from Zed's moveset in Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, and lo and behold, this actually does seem very similar to the putties from Zed's moveset in Power Rangers, and Zed was by far my favorite character in that game. So I'm really happy to see that. Oh, that's really interesting. So this is also kind of reminding me of Captain Ginyu from Dragon Ball FighterZ. Captain Ginyu was able to call in his members of the Ginyu squad, and each one of them would have their own move they could do. So he does some kind of anti-air launcher. These are almost assists in their own right? That looks like an anti-air assist. And then he comes in and jumps up and does an air-to-air. I'm wondering if he only does this move and he only does this move. Obviously, we might be able to see them do more in the rest of this video, but even if these are the only moves that they have, it's really interesting how you can have them combo into each other like that. I'm thinking how you could get some interesting conversions that way, right? Because what if you just hit with this raw? Well, we don't know how, even though this does look like a good angle to be an anti-air, I don't know if he's able to come out fast enough to use it as an anti-air, as a reaction. So maybe it is more of just a combo tool. Or, well, I guess if this game is going to be active tag now, you could probably call them out, and then as they're running across the screen, tag into your other character, right? And this would behave as a lockdown now. So knowing that this game is active tag now, maybe this is a little better. Also, I'm watching this on the Arc System Works channel, but as you can see, the bitrate of this video is not very good, even though I'm watching it on 1080p. Hopefully this gets, well, I was going to say uploaded somewhere else with better bitrate, but I don't know where it would. But so hopefully we just see better footage of the game in general somewhere else. Okay. Okay, so this super, he combos it after the wall bounce. I think you can audibly hear a wall bounce here if you listen closely. And so then he combos into this as Biscuit's falling. And it really does look like this would be a command grab super. But maybe it just allows you to combo into it, right? It is possible that it is a command grab that you can also combo into here. Or maybe it's not a command grab. But I'm inclined to think that this isn't the only use of this super, just using it as a regular attack. Because the animation here of him having his hand out as if he were about to grab somebody, and just having it bounce into Biscuit like that, and then having it explode, it's making me a little skeptical that this would have been the animation that they chose if it weren't also a command grab, right? If this were the animation that they chose, knowing that it would only be a move that you could combo into realistically, that would look a little weird. Also, is this widescreen? Did they just change it to widescreen? Yeah, okay. I couldn't tell if I was imagining that. Maybe they just have it like this for the, some of the cinematic stuff. Some of the intros. Okay. Ever heard of the Bomber? I think I heard of him. Hold on. Is he going to explain the whole thing in the super animation? I don't think there's anything crazy going on here, right? You just launch him, do a little bit of an air gatling, and then launch him back down onto the ground. Or spike him back down onto the ground. See, right here, that looks more like a super that would not be a command grab, right? Because he's just lunging forward with his hand, right? Whereas the other super we saw, he dashes forward. Right? Right, he dashes forward. Maybe that's just me, but him dashing forward, it makes me think, oh, what if it's a command grab super, and if you were to do it raw, you could just jump it on reaction, so you have to kind of do a setup into it, or maybe do something to increase their mental stack for it to work, right? I could be wrong, though. Maybe neither of these are command grabs, because again, as I was saying, it's really hard to implement command grabs and have them be balanced in a game without motion inputs. Also, I can't tell if it's just me, but the gameplay here in this footage, the colors, everything seems a little bit dim. It almost looks as if the lights are turned down, even though they're outside. I don't know if that's just me. If I grab a screenshot from this trailer, though, to make a thumbnail, I'm definitely going to be upping the exposure a little bit so it doesn't look so dark. Okay. Okay, yeah, that was the explanation. It just, that was a funny cut going from this and back to the combo. Maybe that was actually just an edit for the trailer, but that was all the explanation he needed to give, so I'm not complaining. He didn't need to explain to Gon how to deactivate the bomb. Okay. Is this kind of a two-part? Is this kind of a two-part super? Right? Because you need to plant the bomb. You think maybe that super wasn't damaging per se, but just to plant the bomb? And then maybe that same input then leads to this other super if the bomb is already planted? It's weird though that he would have to make contact with the opponent here in order to touch his thumbs with the other guy's thumbs, right? Right here, he hits him and then he does this as an animation. I was thinking that it could have been similar to Havik from Mortal Kombat 1 in that once you have the bomb planted on them, you end a combo by planting the bomb on them, and then when they get back up, you're hitting them with an unblockable as they get back up. Similar to Havik's neck snap, whatever that move is called. In Mortal Kombat 1, Havik can end a combo by spitting this mucus onto the opponent, for lack of a better term. And then once that mucus is attached with the tether, if Havik breaks his own neck, it forces the opponent to break their own neck as well. And so Havik is able to get unblockable setups that way. And I was thinking it would be really cool if they designed Genthru around unblockable setups like that. But looking at this right here, I'm wondering if they just made it a super animation. It's kind of hard to tell, honestly. Of all the characters shown off so far in these gameplay trailers, Genthru is probably the most challenging one to figure out. Not only because of him having what seems to be a two-part super, but also because it also sort of looks as if they made an edit for the trailer, but it might not be an edit for the trailer when they have this cut right here. Right, it's kind of hard to tell if that's an edit for the trailer or if that's actually where one of the supers ends. Also, like I said, I really wonder if the two other bomber guys can do anything else, or if this guy always does this move and the other guy always does that move. That would make it kind of similar to Ginyu, like I said, the Ginyu squad or the Ginyu force from DBFZ. But anyway, I'm definitely still planning on maining Genthru, even though Isaac Netero is my favorite character in the show. Gameplay-wise, I'm probably going to become most attached to Genthru. I know some people thought that Genthru was kind of a wasted slot, but me personally, I think he very much is deserving of being in this game just because, as I said, he's pretty much the only character that could fill the archetype of a grappler, at least to some extent in this game. And I'm very happy to finally be seeing more footage of this game after such a weirdly long break, right? Something was definitely going down with the marketing of this game, and I think it probably had to do with them debating internally if they should delay the game or not. But I am glad, of course, that they delayed the game because we are now confirmed to be getting rollback netcode. So let me know what you guys think about the game. Let me know what you're currently thinking about the game in the comments. Let me know what you think about Genthru's gameplay. Let me know if maybe I missed something, or if you have any other ideas about how his gameplay works here that I didn't necessarily pick up on. And I will see you guys again whenever they show off another character trailer for this game. So thanks for watching, everyone, and bye for now.